Howdy, Soraya.
Hey, Jeff.
Episode 126. So,
This is going to be a good one.
yes, yeah. Not only is it exciting that we get to talk to some members from this band, but we get to talk to one of many of the full lineups. So, but before we say who they are, maybe we could do like a little guessing game for those watching the video. So if anybody recognizes any of these folks, all four of these people will be on our podcast. And who are these people, Soraya?
Wednesday week.
So this is so cool. I'm super excited because, like I said, we're not only having an opportunity to talk to some members of Wednesday week, it's this whole lineup of the What We Had album. And so the sisters, Kristi and Kelly and David is going to be on, and Heidi. So
Yeah.
all four. So I'm looking forward to this. It should be a lot of fun. And Wednesday week has gone through a few different lineup changes, and we'll walk through some of that and talk about some of their releases, and hopefully see if we can find out if there's anything that we can expect in the future from the band. I kind of have a hint that maybe something will be coming that of new material. So
Fingers crossed.
yeah. So let's ask those who know, right?
I think that's best. We'll ask the experts. So let's get started.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Soraya.
And this is Jeff.
Our podcast is called Paisley Stage Raspberry and Rhyme,
a podcast where the two of us play music that we like and share anecdotes and background about the tunes.
We hope you'll join our conversation. And without further ado, a grooviar.
Let's get groovy. That works for us. All right, Soraya, are we ready?
I'm really happy right now. I'm really happy. But yes, so Jeff, tell our listeners who is joining us.
Okay, so like we talked about in the intro, we're very excited because we're not only talking to some members from Wednesday week, we're talking to one of the full lineups, the What We Had lineup, right? We have all four members, but this band has gone through different phases, multiple different phases, and we wanted to walk through some of those phases. But before we did that, we wanted to ask each one of you if you could tell us a little bit about your earliest musical memories or something that got you started. I know we'll talk to some people and it'll be the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, or it'll be Michael Jackson Beat It video, or Justin Bieber on YouTube. But can we talk to each one of you and find out any of your earliest memories or any significant musical memories that got you interested in music in the first place? Maybe Heidi, we'll start with you.
Oh, wow. I was going to suggest somebody else, but I...
Well, we figured you had the wine, so you were probably lubricated. So
yeah, that was me talking. That's what I was going to say. But okay. So my family is very musical. I grew up in a family where we all sang around the piano all the time, and everybody did, like, acting in small theaters, and everybody, it was all very, very me and my sisters singing harmony at Christmas, being pushed out to, sing our special song every Christmas. But I feel like, for me, yes, I love that you said Ed Sullivan, the Beatles. I saw that. Wow. I'm proud that I'm old enough to have seen that. That's where I like to brag about my age. And I do remember when I was small, I remember pretending like we were the Beatles. And this is interesting. I always was Paul McCartney. And then when we were the Monkees, I was Peter Tork.
Wow. Oh, bass.
Is that interesting? So that's the magic behind me playing bass.
I didn't know that.
Isn't that interesting? But I just have to say, like, but playing in a band, I played in orchestras, I played the oboe, and I was always playing, learning different instruments in the school, the concert band and stuff. But when I joined a rock band, when I joined these guys, this was the band. It was, was it called Wednesday Week right at that time? You guys were putting out the first record. And, I'm not on that record. I joined the band right when that record was coming out. And I feel like I joined. It wasn't like joining. I didn't even know how to play the bass. It was like joining a gang. It was like finding my people. You know.
Wow.
So that's kind of, it's like, it's not even, it's about kind of going, I don't know what I'm doing, but these are my people. I want to be part of this. And I mean, how lucky was I to join this band where we were all of a sudden we're touring, and and that was amazing, leaving town. Anyway, I'm going into a different subject now. That's all I'm saying. Okay, done.
I would have never guessed that you didn't play an instrument when you joined the band. That's
I
wow.
didn't play the bass. Yeah. Did you guys know that? Did I lie? I lied. I think I like to tell people that, but I don't know if I talked about that in front of you guys. I said I'm a bass player, but
Fooled us.
Kelly, what about you? What's your earliest musical memory?
Wow, I don't have quite such defined memory like that. Mine are, what can I say? My family, was musical in the sense that I remember hootenannies. It sounds kind of funny, but hootenannies when I was young that we attended. So, there's all that kind of group singing, which is one of the things that I like the most. I mean, not that I really sing in the band, but I love people singing together. I just think that's fun. So that's maybe my earliest musical memory. My brother got me my first albums, Beatles records and other records, which my husband would laugh at me about now. We won't mention those, but they were cool. They were cool. And in school, we learned how to play the recorder. I had guitar lessons. I'm not even sure how that came about, that was brought to us as an option, but it was great. And also piano lessons briefly, which was interesting because the guy who taught us had his own method where you weren't reading the music right away. He had some interesting symbols that he used to help you do chords and so forth. And then you could play songs that you knew, which of course is always more appealing instead of things that you don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And then that was kind of while we were in New York. And then out here in California, we started going to see bands. Whoa. And that was great. Actually, Kristi and I were playing together before that and trying to kind of make it up as we went. We didn't really know how to do that. I was playing drums just because that sounded like something fun to make a lot of noise. And she was playing guitar, and we tried to play together, which didn't work that well in the very beginning because we didn't know what we were doing. But that's about the gist of my early musical memories.
Nice.
That's very cool.
And David, what about you? We talked to you before. Welcome back. Yeah.
Thanks.
So we had a little discussion about your earliest memories, but please.
I mean, it's really, I thought about it. I guess Joe, my brother, is responsible for all of it, because he was playing when I was a little kid, and he took me to my first concerts, got me in my first band. So yeah, I could just say it's all because of Joe.
Can we ask, has Joe Nolte always been as talkative as he is now? Did he share for hours with you about music?
So yeah, he's always been talkative, but it's gotten way worse, in his old age, because now he's like the old man telling the, stories from before, and the stories, like something that took 5 minutes to happen is like at least an hour-long story. So yeah, in the old days though, he would tell me stories and I thought a lot of them were just gospel. He would tell me stories about bands. He would tell me about people like Syd Barrett or whatever mythical figures in rock music, and it wasn't always factual, but it was a great story. And that's Joe.
We love the stories, don't we, Soraya?
I can't believe I'm glad you guys like it. You guys, I mean, I sit there and cringe. Like there was that one time. What? No, so Joe was on the show the first time, and you guys asked one question, and then he talked, and it went over an hour and a half, and then you finally had to cut him off, and then you came back for episode 2, and then I think you got in 2 questions. But I mean, it was literally I just kept like, he wouldn't come up for breath. He kept, yeah.
This is
Yeah,
true. This is
And I'm glad
absolutely
you guys,
true.
I'm glad you guys appreciate it. Being his little brother, it's hard. It's harder to take.
All right, Kristi. So what about you? What are some early musical memories for you?
Well, same with the Hootenannies. My mom would play guitar and everybody would sing, and I was supposed to be in bed. I don't know if you were supposed to be in bed too, but I was definitely supposed to be in bed, and Kelly. And so I'd sneak out and watch and think, that's what I want to do. I want to be the one that plays the guitar, you know? I mean, that's like, I was 3 or 4. I mean, that was really early. And then, oh yeah, and then she took me with her because I was too young for school. Kelly was already in school when she went places, and she went to a radio station in Norman, Oklahoma, where we live, and because her friend worked there. Well, also she made a song. She recorded and sang a song, and maybe that's actually why she was there, called the Oklahoma Blues. And anyway, the guy gave me a stack of singles. It was just promos that he didn't want. And I was just like, oh my God, so exciting. And they were my gospel. And I had a little record player and I would play them over and over. And the one I remember the most, it was a bird song called Going Back. And I loved it so much. And that was in Oklahoma. So that was really young. Again, maybe 4 or 5. And then yeah, in New York, they got guitar lessons, my sister and brother, because they were older. They told me my hands were too small.
Oh.
I was so pissed. And then by the time my hands were big enough, you know, they were over it. The older kids weren't taking anymore. And they're like, no. I was so mad. And then the piano teacher with that method, I thought that was bullshit. I was like, don't teach me this. I want the notes. I don't want these weird ass symbols. So I was pissed about that.
I like that.
Yeah, I was like, I want the real thing. And then when we moved out here, I started taking guitar lessons religiously, and then Kelly got free tickets. Well, I'm getting, you said earliest, and I'm going too far forward. But anyway, that's it for me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no, now I want to hear the rest of this. Go for it.
Well, I just to go back real quick, my brother was definitely a musical influence on both of us. And he took me to my first concert, which was Hot Tuna.
Oh.
And they played from midnight to 6:30 in the morning. It was so cool. I was just like so excited. Wow. It was a theater. I can't remember which one in New York, but so I would kind of like wake up and watch them and fall asleep. It was so cool. But when we moved out here, Kelly won tickets at UCLA to a club show. We went and saw other shows and big shows, but she won tickets. What was it? The Zippers and the Zeros? Or Snap and the Zippers. Snap and the Zippers. And that was the first time we'd been to a club. We'd been to bigger concerts and stuff, but that was like mind blowing. We're like, you can actually get like right up and see the bands and not be like at the Forum or some theater. That was exciting.
Wow. Yeah. I'm a fan of club shows myself.
Yeah, well, me too.
Do you remember what club?
It was Gazzari's.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Of course we remember which club, because that first time to go see live music, like Kristi said, like close, where you could like almost touch the stage, was so eye-opening, mind-boggling, like, wow. So that changed everything.
Yeah, it's like, oh, maybe now we can get from here. Like I always wanted to play music and be in a band, but you go from here to a theater or the Forum. How do you get from here to there? But you see a club show and it's like, okay, you know.
Very cool. Very cool.
first step.
All right. So before we start talking about Wednesday week forming, we want to go back a little bit. And can we talk a little bit about the undeclared with
Wow.
Goat Deity.
Undeclared is before Goat Deity. That was our very first show, Kelly, right?
I believe so. Is that the Panorama City parking lot?
Pizza place?
No, the Panorama City parking lot, which is now Walmart. It's a Walmart now. Yes, we had a show. It was just Kelly and I, right? We before the White Stripes.
I was gonna say.
Before the White Keys. it was so windy. It was so windy. The wind was blowing over her cymbal stands, but that was our very first show. And Kelly was in college, and we didn't have a band name, so we were the Undeclared.
Oh.
Ah, okay, all
Because I
right.
guess she didn't have a major at that
Yeah,
point
exactly.
either.
I didn't have a major at that point, so.
So I think that was about 1979-ish.
Yeah.
From what I was thinking. And then enters somebody that we've had on our show, Steve Wynn, right? So Steve Wynn of the Dream Syndicate becomes a member or joins you two, and Goat Deity happens. How does that happen?
Do you want to talk about it, Kelly, or shall I?
You tell. You tell.
Well, we lived in the valley.
I'll let
That's
Rennie get
when
water.
we moved after when we moved out here. We moved to the valley, and we found Moby Disc, and we could walk
Oh.
there, which was great. And so I would go there all the time, just all the time. I'd walk there, and I just pour over the record covers, and it was such a great place. And I was, trying to be cool and stuff. And anyway, Steve worked there. I became friends with the people behind the counter. Tom Graysick, who is at Freak Beat now. Bob Say. I can't remember if Tom was there right then. But anyway, Steve was there, also Dave Provost. And so we would just talk. And he, I said we had a band. He's like, really? You and your sister have a band? And so he was interested. And so he said, well, we should try playing together. So we did. And we had our first show in the living room of my mom's house. And there were some of those Moby Disc people there. And yeah.
Wow. So some of those guys went on to open up Freak Beat Records.
Yes.
Yes.
Love them.
Yeah, I recognize some of those names. And then this happens, right? Narrow.
Oh, wow, you got one of
Yes.
those.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Soraya and I were just talking about this. We were so excited when this cassette was issued by a record. Was it a record shop, record label? And then you guys were going to do a show, and we were so excited to go to see you guys perform, right, as Narrow Adventure. And then something happened to the record company. So Burger Records went under, unfortunately, like right at the time when you guys were going to do this. So it was such an exciting time for us. But so how do we go from Goat Deity into Narrow Adventure? So Kelly, you have to answer.
Narrow Adventure. How did we get from there to recording with Vetus? That's a good question, because that probably jumped. It might seem like many years, but actually it was probably months. I don't know. Kristi, do you remember the timeline on that?
Well, so we were playing with Steve, and we were very different, had a very different approach to what we wanted to do. He had his songs, we had our songs, we would do them together, but they were very different. We had a very different approach musically. And so we eventually, were like, you do your thing, we'll do our thing. And then we needed, someone else to play with. And actually before Kel, we had Dave Provost, because we knew him.
Sorry. Yeah, you're backing up to how do we get from Goat Deity to...
Yeah, that's what he was asking, yeah. So we started playing with Dave Provost, and we were a three-piece, which was so fun. Dave Provost is such a crack up, right? I mean,
We love that guy. Yeah.
oh my God, he's the funniest guy. His stage banter is amazing. It's almost as good as Heidi's. Almost.
And I have moments, I have these little moments.
No, she's amazing too. But anyway, so we played with Dave Provost, but Dave Provost is a popular guy, and he was playing with a lot of people all the time. And so it was like, oh, we need somebody who's more available. So we knew Kel. And if you want to pick it up from there, we started playing with Kelly, or not.
Was also playing with other people.
True. He was playing with the Urinals, and we loved the Urinals, and we're friends with them.
Yeah, but I think he just thought it would be fun to play with us.
Well, he hadn't played bass before, and he thought it'd be fun to play bass.
That's right. He's a guitar player, right?
Yeah, and we got a rehearsal space, right? We got a garage that we shared, and we would rehearse. And then, our first show at the Troubadour. I don't
Terrifying.
know about you, but I thought Kel would know everything because he'd been in a band that played club shows.
Exactly. A seasoned musician.
He was just like,
I think he had his own nerves going because it was his first show playing bass.
I
And
guess.
so it didn't occur to us that he would be nervous, because he's been around. I guess he was maybe as nervous as we were. I just remember being terrified up on stage. Wow, and this is the Troubadour. Not that I think I probably gave it as much due as I should have at the time. It was just another club, but looking out at the people there and playing, it was just like total stage fright. And I remember thinking, this is not fun at all.
Yeah.
This guy was there.
Yeah, I saw it.
David was at the show.
In the audience?
Yeah. Yep,
Yes.
I remember it well. Because by that time, Kristi and Kelly, were part of this whole social circle and they had tons of friends, so the place was pretty full.
And
And I remember after the show, Kristi was really embarrassed and she went and tried to hide in the telephone booth because everybody wanted to come up and say, "Oh, good show, that was great,"
But I knew it was horrible, so I didn't want to have people lie to me, so I tried to
Oh,
hide.
it sounded great.
I bet it did. I bet it sounded great. So was there anybody else on the lineup for
Oh
that?
yeah. I think maybe that's why he was there.
No,
Oh, you weren't in the band at
no,
that
I
one.
wasn't in the
The
band.
last was playing.
But
Okay.
wasn't Paula Pierce?
The direct
The
hits with Paula Pierce. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pre-Pandora's, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Gary Stewart, who was managing the last, had put us on the show to give us a show.
Yeah.
I had a question about about Narrow Adventure. You're talking about Kel. One of my favorite songs on here is Anyone Like Me, which is also on Wharf Rat Tales. I love the arrangement of it. And I think there's a 12-string guitar part on that song. Is he playing that, or are you playing that, Kristi? Do you remember?
I think it's me. I think it's me.
Okay.
He didn't play guitar.
The only thing it could be is so Vetus did those recordings and
Okay.
he might have had Steve Andrews.
This was pre
Oh, it was Steve.
This was
Okay,
before
yeah.
Steve. This was before Steve Andrews. No, I think it's just
Then
me.
it's just you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, that Anyone Like Me song goes back to Goat Deity days. And I hear that Steve Wynn has an even earlier version that's even weirder.
Oh, really?
With you guys.
Yeah, me and Kelly and Steve. Yeah, and he
He has
said
a
he was
cassette of it?
he said he was going to send it to me, but he hasn't. And actually, that reminds me though, when Dave Provost was playing with this, there was a song. There's a song. Which one was it, Kelly? Was it you and Dave? There was a song we were teaching him. Do you remember this story? And we were
Yeah.
showing him the parts, and he was like, I showed him a part, then I showed him the next part, I showed him another part, and then he just started laughing. He's like, "You're pulling my leg, right?" Because we didn't just write verse, chorus, verse, chorus. We just kind of wrote the music the way the words went. And there were all these different parts, and he thought it was like a joke. And it was like, no, I was like, that's the way the song goes. What do you mean?
That's hilarious.
Later, it was like, oh. So you and Dave, when you listen to that, you just imagine Dave Provost laughing at me.
That is so funny.
That's good.
So some of those songs, in fact, most of those songs, well, a good portion of those end up being on your EP, right? And my friend was kind enough, since you guys haven't done it yet, he made me a little CD version of it. But
Oh wow.
I'm hoping you guys do that someday. for us. So and we also learned that from the song I Hate Lying to Mom, is where the title comes from, Betsy's House. And we've had Matt Devine on our show from Permanent Green Light, and someone who put out my favorite album of last year. But Betsy's House, I guess, was their house.
Yeah, I guess we could call it Matt's house.
That's right.
I know we should. That's great. You should do that just to mess with Betsy.
Yeah, she wouldn't like that.
Be like, Matt's kind of more
Just your
famous,
house.
so it's Matt's house now.
Yeah.
So you and Betsy were friends? Matt's sister is
High school, yeah. We met in high school. And she started coming out with me and my sister to see shows. So yeah.
All right. So you all need to settle, not an argument, but Jeff and I go back and forth about the origins of the band name Wednesday Week.
Yeah.
Who
Kelly.
named it, and
Kelly.
give us the why. We
Kelly.
Jeff and I have our own theories, but we want to see if we're close.
Okay, well, we
Kelly
Got
got
dark. What happened? It got really dark in there.
Whoop.
Did you shut off a light in your room,
It's a
Kelly?
scary story.
Yeah.
Get ready.
He's a flashlight under her chin.
That was one night.
the sun
Don, pay
has
the bills.
passed over, and I don't have the lights on. I guess I'm gonna have to turn them on. It was the outside. Light.
Oh, it got dark outside. Got it.
Yeah, I guess the sun has just dipped. I'll have to go turn something on. We were recording that EP, and we were requested to change the name.
Oh, that's not quite right.
No,
I'm so
I thought Kelly
sorry.
was telling the story.
Well, it was before the EP. It was Wharf Rat.
oh,
Wharf Rat before
Wharf
the-
Rat Night. Yeah, right. Wharf Rat Tales. Sorry, that's right.
Sorry, go ahead.
That one. Cue the compilation record.
Here we go. All right, so you recorded the songs for
Yeah.
this, and they didn't. Vetus didn't like the name. Vetus.
Is it
Near
Vetus or
Adventure.
Gear?
I don't know why. I think that's a great name. But
Really? You guys just listen to Vetus? You just
I
said
know,
that?
right?
I mean, I love Vetus. I'm not saying that, but
Wow.
He was really bossy and pushy about it.
I mean,
And-
this is a male-female thing here now. Now we should go off into that zone.
exactly.
Yay, Heidi.
I wasn't gonna go there. I wasn't gonna
Wow.
go there.
Okay, I didn't know
Identified it.
that. I didn't know that. I'm learning. Okay.
This was
Keep
the
going.
first step. This was the first step of just letting go of our, you know,
It's true. We started giving it all away right at that moment and never stopped.
so,
You're-
so we still have this argument going, Soraya and I, about the name Wednesday Week, and so you had to change it. Who came up with the idea, and where did it come from? Was it Undertones, or was it Elvis Costello, or
it was Undertones, and it was a suggestion from Don, my husband,
okay,
boyfriend at the time. But yeah, he you know, he was like, the Undertones are great, the song's great. Wednesday Week is a good name for you guys. So we were like, okay.
And
And
is
I
it
think,
male?
Soraya, you found out it's an expression or a term.
Yeah, I mean, it's a British expression, but but there you go.
But
Done.
the expression didn't have any particular meaning for us. I mean, I
We
know
were-
what you're saying, but it was just like, it sounds cool. And
We
yeah,
were born on Wednesdays. We were both born on a Wednesday.
Oh
true.
wow.
that's
Okay.
true.
Wow. All right, Heidi. So you come into the picture for this one.
That's when it all
It's the
started.
top.
It all
Yep.
started. Okay, now I'm talking from now on, you guys.
I know.
Outside.
This is Heidi's moment.
So
No,
you don't play bass, but you play a mean oboe. And how did you go from oboe to bass?
Because I lied to everybody because I wanted to be part of this, right? You know, don't you just do that? It's like yes, I could get it together and play the bass to play with these guys. I think I heard, did you guys, and it was about the last shows. It was about going to see David and seeing the last and being in that whole scene, and the Zippers. I mean, that whole scene. I mean, the Zippers, Danielle was like my first girlfriend for years. I would go see the Zippers and I would just like stare. I was just like, just like stunned. And the last, I mean, that whole world. And then knowing these guys and seeing Kristi and Kelly around, and you guys looked really really tough to me, like really like
In the-
kind of like, I mean, I think because you guys, you have this thing where you're talking, and here's the last playing and everybody's all there and we all kind of know, everybody knows all the same people, but I didn't really know you guys yet. And you'd always be kind of huddled together. And it was just kind of like, like they were so cool that, really, I remember it was kind of like a little, intimidating. And then I heard you guys needed a bass player. So probably if you guys needed, a guitar player or a drummer, I would have been a drummer. I would have been a guitar player. I mean, that's why I play the bass, because you guys needed a bass player, and so I like talking about that. That's actually true, right? That's how people play stuff because that's what's needed, and you want to be part of this thing. It's not like, oh, I want to be a bass player in a band. It's like I wanted to join this cool band, and the fact that you guys were girls, I mean, that was a very cool thing to get to be, to join. I was freaking out, and on top of it, what was also really exciting was the fact that they had this record, right? I'm joining a band that already has this cool record out called Betsy's House, it was a really great thing for me. And then I get, then my photos on it, which is, it's embarrassing. My photos, here I am, I'm not playing on this record, but night, I think I was really, really lucky because immediately we were like, let's go play other places. And you guys had that together to be able to do that. Let's just, you guys were calling colleges and just getting out and actually doing it and getting it together because shows were set up, right? And not going, oh, we're just gonna play and see how it goes. Because you guys were already the fact that I never heard that story about playing the parking lot. You just did it, you just, and that says that's why I joined this band. I mean, it's not why I joined, but thank God I joined this band where things were, we weren't just like sitting in the garage playing. Am I going off in a whole different tangent? Did I answer a question?
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm wondering from Kristi and Kelly's side, if you come in and they need a bass player and you lie, I know Kristi
Lie.
doesn't lie, at least not to mom, but maybe to other people, but she hates lying to mom. But so Heidi lies about playing bass. I'm guessing there's no audition, right? So Kristi,
There was, but she faked it. Well, listen, she already was a musician.
Yeah, when she says she couldn't play bass, it's like I've heard people that really can't play bass.
Yeah,
she was a little bit better than not playing bass.
so she was musical, but not a bass player.
Yeah, she played many instruments, and it was like, oh, let me switch to bass now. And you know what I mean? She says that, but she was really good.
Thanks, Kristi.
So.
Thank you.
Bass is much different than a piano or an oboe, but you're still musical, Heidi, right?
Yeah, I could get away with it. But was there an audition, you guys? Did we I feel like
Yeah.
a couple
We didn't just accept you like without playing. And I didn't want a girl. I did not want to be a girl band. You remember that?
I love that.
Because there's so many gimmicky girl bands, and I don't want to be a gimmicky girl band. And I remember there was the meanest review of Betsy's House. I was like, look at all the people that played on this. I guess it was one big pajama party. Did the girls even play their instruments?
Right.
And it's like, I didn't want to be in a girl band because you get so much crap. But then Heidi came and she auditioned, she tried out, and look at her, she's so charming. We were just like, oh my God, of course we have to have her in our gang.
And isn't that great? I love it because of the same idea. Like I didn't like that idea either, where everybody's like, I mean, we're used to playing places and people going, the Go-Go's or everybody wants to, or people show up and every button they're wearing is like a girl band. It's like, wow, that's what this is just because a girl band. Yeah.
Well, I want to interject at this time. You guys are talking about the girl band thing. I didn't want to bring that up, but the reason or the way that I came to Wednesday week was because of the compilations. I shared numerous times this.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, this change. It's hyperbole. This album changed my life. That's why I got all these signatures on from all of you guys. Got played on it, so this means everything to me, including Vetus, who apparently is not good with Narrow Adventure as a band name, but I Hate Lying to Mom was one of the songs where I had to hear what the rest of the music that this band put out. So at the time, Betsy's House was the only thing that I could find. So it was the compilations that did it for me, as well as Vetus's compilation too. So with Wharf Rat Tales. So when I hear you guys on a compilation, I'm like, oh, I've got to find out more about this band. So you guys went from recording here in LA, and then for what we had, you go to North Carolina and record with Don Dixon. Like, wow. like that must have been incredible. I want to find out about how that recording went. And then also, David, for you, you're in a girl band, I guess. So
Yeah.
can you
Classic.
talk about that dynamic?
He saved us from being a girl band.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think the girl thing was as much of a thing, or I don't know. I don't even know what to say about
Well,
it.
we didn't see ourselves as a girl band, right? We didn't want to be a girl band. We didn't identify as a girl band. We needed a guitar player.
I think that was it. It was more about getting to play guitar. Like Heidi, it's like I was a bass player, so I wasn't really a guitar player. And being able to come in and play guitar was the thing that was really appealing. That was cool.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to talk, but I shouldn't talk.
Yes, you
Go
should.
Another direction. I was just going to say, like, I have these recordings of us rehearsing, right? I mean, I remember years ago listening to this, and I love this because, and David, it's when we're dealing with like what we had, right? When we're doing all that.
Oh, when we're arranging the songs and stuff.
Yeah, and we play these songs, and then the song ends, and we all just laugh. I swear, we just all laugh. We don't. It's like the best thing in the world, right? It's not like we're it's not like we're all accusing each other of doing whatever, or trying to, we're just like, we're actually truly like, like happy. It's weird, right?
Well,
I mean, I say this during COVID. I mean, we were happy. We were actually like, we're like laughing. The song ends.
Well, the laughing. Remember at the end of songs, you and Kristi would just sit there in suspended animation, just like. I think that's what.
We just have these things, yeah, yeah. I think it's like we were happy playing together, and that's like, not to be all like, bringing it down to some happiness thing, but
No, that's good.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, the dynamic of the band. Did you guys actually enjoy each other's presence? I think at least two of you really did, but how about the rest of you?
Yeah, in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys all got along well, at least at the beginning?
Yeah, we did. No, we did. I mean, that's one great thing, because we've all been in many bands since then. And it's so great because you don't, in your first real band, that's all you know. And none of us are too loud. There's never anybody like trying to be like, look at me, everybody was super polite. Later I'd be in bands and be like, oh my God, I can't hear it. And I keep asking them to turn down and they won't turn, and everybody, yeah, we all got along. We were pretty happy. I mean, Kelly and Heidi and I all worked at the same place too. Our day jobs, we all worked at the same place. So, I mean, we all spent a lot of time together and we were happy.
Yeah, it's true. That is completely opposite of everything else, where we were all like, was I playing too loud? Should I turn down?
Yeah.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
That really says a lot,
Yeah.
I've never heard that in a band ever in my life. I've played with about a dozen bands, and it's never that. It's always the opposite. Like, you need to turn down, or like,
Yeah.
that's always the case. So it sounds like there's not a lot of egos with the band.
No, I mean, the only thing is like, so the dynamic of Kelly and Kristi can be kind of intense, like two Callans together. And so I think that being in the band with Heidi, that helped.
You
a
mean
little
like
bit.
those
The
fist
balance.
fights? Like
No,
the
just,
Davies?
just you guys have a very, you're just sort of,
Well, I will say in the beginning, like Never Adventure Days and stuff, Provost and Kel too. Kelly and I were just so used to playing with each other. We would just start playing. We didn't count off songs. We just look at each other and play, and we were like, oh, okay, other people.
That's so funny. That's great. You just look at each other.
Okay, so back to the Don Dixon thing. How does that happen? How did you decide to go to Reflection, right? That's the name of the studio.
yeah.
How did you decide to record there and have Don Dixon be a recorder, their engineer, producer?
Who wants to take this one?
Who decided that? Because you guys were throwing that out. Who was
Well,
throwing that out?
The thing about the Don Dixon recording was the thing with Enigma.
Yeah.
Like being on Enigma, Enigma had touted that, had had that as like a carrot on the stick. You know, they had the Smithereens and they had a relationship with Don. We could do the record, you know, they'd finance us going out there and recording Reflection. It was a studio where the first 2 REM records were done, and, you know, it sounded good to us. And Rhino was offering us to record with Ethan James at Radio Tokyo. So that was the 2 different visions. That's what we were choosing between, Rhino and Enigma.
Well, you see, really, so I knew a lot of people at schools because of booking all the colleges, right? And just a real quick aside, I saw your 28th day when you had Michael Cloward. We played Cal State Chico. We all slept on his floor with his cat. And I knew this guy from Davis, Scott, and I was just talking to him, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna put out a record with Rhino. They're gonna, you know, Ethan's gonna do it with us. He's Ethan James, who did Betsy's House. And he was like, whoa, what? Wait, I work for Enigma. I mean, we would like to put your record out. And I was like, well, I know. And he said, well, wait, hang on. And so he said, like David said, he was sort of offering, like, we can do more for you, and we can take you, you know, to do something different, you know.
Right.
Wow.
And so that was kind of exciting, but very difficult, right? Because we loved Gary. Gary gave us our first show, gave us, you know, everything. And so it was really hard to say no to him, you know, and Rhino was offering a much smaller budget. Not that Enigmas was very big at all, but still we got to go to North Carolina and work with somebody different. And so.
Seemed like a step forward. So.
Wow. So in the progression of the band, right? So
yeah, we'd already done Ethan with Betsy's House, so let's try something else.
And to go away all together like that, I think
Yeah.
it was really the sound of the record, right? We're all together somewhere else.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like taking a step, you know, up, and growth. That's what it seemed like. So we did.
I really like the sound of drums that Don gets. So Kelly, how was that for you working with Don? Did you like how he was working, setting up your drums and the sound that he was getting?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's really easy to work with, really friendly. And I didn't go in there with these specific ideas of what I wanted. I just wanted them to sound good, you know. And so he made suggestions, and it was like, yeah, you know, I'm going with it. So, and yeah, I think it sounded terrific. It made me sound better, you know, so I was all about it.
Wow. And Heidi, you enjoyed working with Don as well?
Oh yeah. I mean, you can't even express like what a crazy, we were only there 2 weeks, and this is like this giant thing in our lives, right? That being with him and his ideas and the way how great he was with all of us, you know. I mean, he was just so, you know, all of us together and all of us by ourselves. I remember at one point I actually said towards the beginning, I need to get a bathing suit, right? You know, I guess we were the end of the summer, I guess. And he goes, I'll take you.
Oh.
He actually took me aside, and we went out shopping so I could buy a bathing suit. I mean, he's like that.
Oh.
You know, he just was, it was just like really fun and bringing us all together, you know. Yeah, I mean, it was like kind of crazy, you know, life-changing stuff, right? Making this record with him was, you know, the best. I mean, it sounded great, and we loved him. I mean, how great is that? What are the chances, you know?
Yeah, you guys should be very proud of this one. It's a great record. So yeah.
So proud of it.
Yeah, sounds good. And then you had a couple singles from it, right? Or why ended up being a single, right? That's a 12-inch I'm trying to find too, or 7-inch. There's 7 inches of those floating around Europe somewhere. If I can get one of those.
Yeah, I was in some record store. Have you guys been to that record store in London where they just all know everything about Wednesday Week? They knew more than I do, you know, like, you know, people just like know everything. And they had Wednesday Week stuff, right? Wow. I'm sure you guys, I mean, it's just, you know.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the big regret though. We didn't get over there. We were supposed to play in Japan. We were supposed to do, we were supposed to go overseas, and we never did, you know. Enigma just at one point was just like, well, we're not putting any more money into this, so that's not gonna happen. Like, okay.
So
Yeah.
can I ask a follow-up question? So how do a few of the songs end up on a movie soundtrack? Was that a decision by the label, or were you involved in that process?
The label.
The label just went ahead and did it.
Well,
Well,
they brought it. Yeah.
Well, they brought the project. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, it. They couldn't just do it, right? We had to,
Sure. well, that's the thing. Yes, we did okay those, right, Under the Boardwalk and Undercover.
Uh-huh.
And then we did okay.
the Roger Corman thing.
Yeah, the Roger Corman thing. I was not into that at first. I was like, no, I don't want to be in a slasher movie, you know, and it's like, no, but it's cool. It's Roger Corman. So we did that. But then also David found, like, years later watching TV in the middle of the night, that they'd used part of Circle in some movie and nobody even told us.
What?
Oh,
I don't know
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah, you do. You just
did at the
forgot.
time.
You did
Oh,
at the time. Yeah. So, you know, sometimes they told us and sometimes they didn't.
Well,
wow.
I wonder if, I mean, I suppose it's possible it was used without even Enigma's.
No,
Enigma did.
it had
Because-
Enigma's information on the credits.
Okay, all right.
But all of the movies that we got on the soundtrack for, Enigma had a deal with Canon Pictures. And so they were just supplying Canon with, you know, and they would just pull, that's why all of those things, it's always like Wire and TSOL and Smithereens.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, even Ethan James had I Hate Lying to Mom, I think it was, or I can't remember which song it was, but there's a bit of that song, or maybe it was Perspective, used in a kind of a documentary short film that Ethan kind of
songs.
yeah, he gave songs to people. You know, he had the tapes at his studio and he was like, oh. So anyway, it's fine. It's great to get the music out in the world.
And
Okay.
it's amazing over the years, the people who have contacted us and to tell, you know, to ask about the band, and their first knowledge of the band was from one of those movies.
Yeah.
You know, they heard a song on it and they, you know, then sought out the band, and it's like, seriously, you know?
So David got out some things to show you.
Well, you said that you wanted the Wednesday week singles. These are both missionary.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Interesting, right? Nice.
Hair. Look at the hair.
No, the hair is
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous.
the 80s.
It could be worse, but it's pretty bad.
Big 80s hair.
I love it.
It's pretty bad, yeah.
And then
Can we-
this is the-
Can we get a reenactment of that photo right there?
Look at, Heidi, look at your hair in this one.
Heidi's got hair too.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's all styled and stuff.
Well, that's the thing. They would do your hair and makeup for these
Japanese
shoots.
stuff.
And it's like I would just sit there and they'd be just, you know, when we did the Arsenio Hall thing, that
Ugh.
they did all our hair ridiculous. Like it's and these photo shoots they do. Now this, right? No funny hair because it's just us at our house.
Right.
It's just us.
Yeah, but my hair is still stupid.
No,
No, it's not.
No.
Your
Yeah,
hair was
yeah.
rarely stupid,
Actually,
Heidi.
really close.
you actually had style. Okay, I just have hair.
Oh,
Right.
There's like cringe.
my gosh. Those singles, Jeff.
Yes.
We're coveting them right now.
We are indeed. We are indeed. So the band put out several fan club singles, which I think is super cool. So
Yeah.
is that a way to get fan club members to honor your fan club members? Is that what was the idea with the fan club singles?
Well, I will say that on this first fan club single, there's a song on here called Also Clear, which we went into Ethan's studio and recorded because we did a lot of compilations and Chip Langley asked for a song for a compilation. And so we recorded Also Clear and sent it to him. He was like, no. We're like, oh, okay. Okay, you're getting this song for free and it's not good enough. Okay. So we had leftover songs. We did this before Enigma, right? Who can?
Yeah.
So
Because we gave Dixon a copy of this when we went up to see
One of my
him.
favorite things about this is the kitty on the label. Kent designed that. Oh my God, I love it.
I like that.
Anyway, why
Cannot
do we
do lyrics for Missionary. I have to throw that in there.
That's true. Kent did write some of the lyrics for Missionary. Kelly, why do we do
Sorry.
fan club singles? Do you remember?
What?
Kelly, do you remember why you guys decided to do fan club singles?
I don't, but in all these years looking back, wow, that was cool of us to do. I mean, I think we did have maybe, leftover, extra, whatever. We had songs, we wanted to put them out. And since the first two came before the Enigma record, it was just like, we had already had some songs on some compilations, and we had done Betsy's House, but you still have stuff and you want to get it out. So put out a single.
Also, can I just say, we had the coolest fans in the fan club ever. Ronnie Barnett, Clive Jones. I saw your Clive Jones episode. Was so excited to see him. I'd never seen what he looked like, and I love him. He's great. There's so many really super cool people were in our fan club, and yeah, we wanted to put something cool out there. So,
Very cool.
And
Well, you
we
guys have
Do you
so
have
much.
I was going to say, do you have the copies of the Flexies too?
yeah, well,
I got
yes,
everything.
that's Unhinged, which you
Unhinged.
guys talked about with Clive as well. Ricketts, Paul Ricketts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to point out that Sweden Spins the drawing. So you know who that is, you guys. That's Kent Fewer, also known as Jackie Beat, the drag queen Jackie Beat, totally famous now. I don't know if you know who Jackie Beat is?
I know that, yes.
Jackie Beat.
What?
Yeah, Jackie Beat's doing really good. That's Jackie Beat's drawing.
Artwork, all of this. Jackie did
Jackie
the
designed.
designed the logo for our little label.
Mhm.
Yeah, and wrote
I love it.
lyrics for Missionary.
For Missionary, yeah.
Wow.
I watched his show recently,
I
which
love
I
Jackie.
probably can't talk about on this show. So it doesn't fit in really well. But he's amazing, crazy talented person.
That is really cool.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. I like that.
So what do you got there, David? What
Oh, I just thought over the other singles. I thought I could find some. I was looking for something else.
I have it. I
The
could get the unhinged one, yeah, if you want it.
I was just curious.
We have a lot of those if you need one, or two, Jeff and Soraya.
Oh,
Yes, please.
we'll never say no, and we will pay any price. You name it.
They're
Agreed.
just like Flexies. We'll send them to you.
Agreed. So you guys have all this material, the fan club singles, Betsy's House. A lot of this, besides this, is or not available on CD. It'd be a perfect time to get all of this material together and do a release. Is that something that you guys have thought about or talked about? Any possibility of getting this stuff together and putting out maybe some kind of retrospective release? Is that something that the band is interested in?
Jeff, it's gotten very quiet.
I
Yeah,
know.
no, it's. I think it's one of those things. Where
Guys, like
it's best when you guys go, Heidi. What do you think?
I thought that was a question for you guys. I'm looking
Well,
at
also, I mean, we did put out a collector's choice. Did you ever see the collector's choice CD? That came out like 10 years ago or something. Gary Stewart helped coordinate that, and Robert Lloyd wrote the liner notes, and that has what we had, and it's got Betsy's House, and it has some bonus tracks. It has a couple tracks from the No Going Back cassette only album. It's got a couple, it's got it's got the song Chip Lay Me Rejected from this single. It's got like a hodgepodge of extra bonus tracks.
So that's something.
So a lot of stuff is out. And then, yeah, there is more that could come out. And then we also, things aren't out there digitally as well. So we need to think about that as well. And then we've recorded new stuff with Don Dixon. So there's that too. So
Yes. Let's talk about that. The new stuff
well, I said new. I mean, I'm jumping all over because then there was stuff we recorded in there was a cassette album, and then we recorded the Boogaloo single. And when was that? 1999. Right?
I think so.
Yeah. And so we have that, and then we recorded a song for another compilation that never came out. And then we have this new batch of stuff too. So there's a lot, you're right, there's a lot of stuff out there. Or not out there that needs to be out there.
Yeah, that's been recorded, but it needs to be on my record player or on my, in my CD player. So no going back. A cassette only release. What was the decision for that? It was the label. That was a label decision.
Kelly, you want to?
You
David?
can say that. Enigma didn't renew us, or pick up the option, I guess it would be the appropriate way to put it.
Okay.
Songs, and we that we wanted to put out, so we weren't going to let that stop us. So we put out. It's funny to think about it now that it was a cassette only release, because as you mentioned with Burger Record, cassettes became very popular many years later. I guess we were ahead of our time then.
Very much so, because that's definitely in
that.
It was all CDs in 1990, right? I mean, very little vinyl. Vinyl was kind of on the way out then. The cassette thing hadn't picked up again, so.
But also, we had really good friends who had a cassette duplication business.
Oh, okay.
Not that we didn't pay them, but still.
We got the bro price.
Yeah.
But no going back should be put out. I wasn't in the band anymore, but you know what was really the beauty of me not being in the band anymore is I got to tour No Going Back and play keyboard.
That's right. You did.
Yeah, she played keyboards.
I mean, which is
fun.
And that was really fun. That was really fun.
And Kelly played bass.
And Kelly was playing bass.
Yeah.
No Going Back. See, that needs to come out on.
So some of those songs are on the reissue of the What We Had CD, but not everything. Yeah. I think some of the Earl songs, right?
Some of the Earl
A couple
songs.
of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Heidi, can we talk about your departure from the band?
Oh, I was just saying something positive about it just now.
We'll go back to that.
Okay. I know you're gonna have like a question. I should let you ask the question probably.
Well, I'm just curious what led to the band changing, where you're no longer a member. You wanted so bad to be in this band, enough to where you lied about it to these very wonderful sisters.
Yes.
We're
Okay,
so
here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say.
The tough sisters.
The tough sisters, scared, intimidating. They just, Okay, this is what I want to say. I was born in 1959. I just turned 62 years old, right? So, you know how like we all go through our lives, making all these decisions, all this stuff's going on. And then we're always looking back and we're going, oh my God, who was I? What did I do? I mean, that's one of those things I look back and go, what the hell, right? I mean, I seriously do, I mean, so I could talk to that. I could think about who I was then, and I could tell you all the things I was thinking, right? But honestly, of course, I mean, I love these guys. I mean, like when I talk about listening to old recordings of us, rehearsing and stuff. I mean, I feel really, we're like family, So so it's a weird thing to, I mean, I'm really honestly going, I wouldn't be here in an interview. I wouldn't be like part of this if I didn't kind of look back and go, what the hell was I thinking?
Understood.
And so there is a lot of that in there where I'm like, wow, who was I? I mean, things were moving so fast, right?
There's so many pressures.
Oh my God. And when we're talking about these times too, it's like, like when you guys were just saying, how was that? It was a few months, or that was, I mean, we're talking about kind of this little window in time when all this shit, most of the stuff you guys are talking about, I wasn't even there. And then I come in and all this stuff is going on and then I'm gone, so yeah, it's interesting. I feel like it should be like a Barbara Walters interview, and I should start crying.
Diane Sawyer would be the one.
But I mean, that's the honest, like, yeah, I think I said this to you, Kristi. I said this to you, Kelly. I think, I mean, it's one of those things, yeah.
No, we're all young and things are happening fast, and it was overwhelming. And
I mean, we're talking 30 years ago, right?
yeah,
And for all of us to talk about like who we were then,
Mm.
I mean, I like to think I've evolved a little, I hope.
I was going to say, if any of us, if anybody could go back and be smarter than you were at that age, right?
Absolutely.
Oh my God. I mean, you guys, yeah. I mean, I was the one that was like doing more drugs than everybody and more like, but that was kind of before Wednesday week. I think I did a lot of stuff, but I don't regret everything I've done since and all the stuff I'm doing now, all of that. I'm very happy with everything. It's not like I'm looking back going, oh my God, my life, I'm not doing that. I'm just going, wow, that was kind of stupid, because when you're younger, time is just so different, it's so different. And now I'm like, I'm like, oh, COVID's going on another month. Yeah, I could stay in this place by myself in this, yeah, a month or whatever. That's like a day, but back then it's like a month is like a year,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting, did I cover everything?
Yeah. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, because that could be a difficult conversation to have. And I think you really summed it up perfectly, describing what it's like growing and changing, right? And
yeah, my first band. I mean, you guys, this is my first band, right? Like, how we're saying that about like amps, like we're all going, am I too loud? Should I turn down?
Yeah.
We all didn't know that until we were in other bands where you go, wow, okay, other bands it's a whole different conversation. You don't appreciate things till later.
That is so true. It's like Kristi was saying, like when it was just the two of us and we were doing songs and we would just kind of look at each other and then go. It's like, and like Heidi saying your first band, it's like, well, that's how it's done, because that's how we do it. And then later you're in other bands, you're like, oh, there's another way to do it. Oh, some good.
And you grow up and you appreciate things about people more, right?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. I think, I kind of, I'm talking too much now. After this, I'm not going to say one more word. Okay. So this is what I'm, it's like an analogy of like a relationship where, I like to think, and it's not true, but I would like to think that people I've gone out with in my life that I've been partnered up with are, even if it ends, they're my friend forever. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think I'm that kind of a person. Right. I'm not, but let's pretend that. But in this sense, that's what that is. Anyway.
Well, it appears in this case that it's absolutely true. So.
Okay, so I have to ask before we move on to another question. Heidi, Kelly, Kristi, David, favorite Wednesday week song to have played in a show? Heidi, I'm going to start with you because I want you to keep speaking.
Oh, that's so sweet of you to say that. I was really giving you guys a gift. What in a show? You mean play? You mean
one of your live shows? What was your favorite song to play?
Oh, I always love Circle. Circle just makes me cry, right? Always. I feel, and I remember the moves we'd make. And I mean, we talk about those moves, like Dave was going to move. Like we're in junior, it's like we're kids and you're, pretending like you're a band and you make moves.
Yeah.
Remember Circle? I remember like is that one of the songs where it's quiet for a second? Me and Kelly would both go like this.
Right.
Just like this.
I love it.
Circle. Anyway, okay, you guys.
Okay, Kelly, what about you?
Wait, go to Kristi first because I have it, but I.
Okay, Kristi.
I don't
and
know.
hopefully she won't say the song I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Sister competition.
Well, I mean, I was thinking of something different, but then when Heidi said that, I was like, oh, I thought, because we do that too. And I thought we're like,
I thought the other one. I thought is the one where it's like, yeah, that's this one.
And we would just do it like to be silly. We're like,
I know. Yeah.
We would have so much fun and just laugh and do the silliest things. And that was one of them.
But that was, you stole my song. That's what I was going to say.
We should have gone first.
I know, right?
Because,
Circle just kills me. Circle kills me. You
well,
know?
that too, but I like the two of you singing, I thought, together. That to me, those are the songs I love the best, is the two voices going together. And
I could pick a different one. I love Leopard. It's
Oh,
really
Leopard.
fun to play. And I love Heidi singing with it. I love the guitar line that David came up with for it. And I mean, I love the rolling beat. I love what everybody brought to it. I love that song. So,
I changed my answer. Leopard.
What about you, Dave?
So I don't want to get in trouble, but
Uh,
we used to cover Never Marry a Railroad Man by the Shocking Blue, and I loved that song. And I loved doing it. Like, I just thought like, oh, this is such a cool song. And
that was fun.
yeah, there's a lot of the covers where that was my favorite part.
Wow.
Nothing against the originals, but I just,
Did you see that?
just because I like old.
He doesn't like my songwriting.
No, it just,
He doesn't like yours either, Heidi, or yours, Kelly.
that's all
He doesn't
true.
like, no, but I will say that we did a lot of really cool covers, which is one of the reasons why we recorded a covers project. That's what we did with Dixon. They were covers. And because we did really cool covers like that one. Never Marry a Railroad Man is a really good one. And then we did Long and Lonesome Road too.
That was
So we had
later.
two Shocking Blue covers.
Yeah, I love the Shocking Blue.
Great band, yeah.
Soraya,
And Kelly, I'm so glad that you brought up the vocals thing, because Heidi and Kristi singing together, amazing. It sounds amazing. Yeah.
Well, thank you for saying that. I was going to say the recent thing we recorded, one of the recent things we recorded, Heidi's singing the main part and I'm singing the backup. And I keep thinking, I sound like her. I'm like, it sounds like her. That's me. I know I sang that part. It sounds like her. And it's so great. I love singing with Heidi. She's my favorite person to sing with because, well, I mean, maybe because it's so, all right.
Saying that, Kristi, everybody knows I need to hear this, so it's like a therapy session.
No, but because we're so, even after all these years, we got so locked in that I really sometimes I'm like, is that me or is that Heidi? It's really great.
Kristi has a great voice. I mean, see, I do feel like we were all like together really early on, and that's something that you just can't get. You can't make that happen, right?
Oh yeah. It's those early years are like so precious because you could never have them again. You can meet some band members, whatever, later and have a nice connection, but it's never the same as when you're that age. It's just because life is so, everything's new, and you still think you can do anything, which is the great part about where we were when you joined, Heidi. It's like, we can do anything and we're gonna.
Right. And it really was, we did have this big attitude. I loved it when we had this big thing when we go to Austin and we'd be on our way back and there was some kind of like we're like this gang, we're like, nobody gets it. We know, this is, I can't remember our thought process, but it was really like, we just felt really like, I don't even know how to say it. Remember that, you guys?
Sure. It's kind of that us against the world thing, right?
Yeah.
Which is a great, beautiful thing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because later it seems like the world's against us,
Hey, it doesn't matter if you're comfortable with what you're doing. Who cares what anybody else thinks,
Right.
I love that camaraderie that you guys had together, bonding together. That's great.
Well, I think we still have it. I mean, we got back together. We got back together to play, the three of us, because David was gone in 2019, and that was just so nice. And then we got back in 2020 and did the Wild Honey thing, and that was so nice too. It is that connection, that camaraderie that hasn't lessened or gone away.
I love that. So Kristi, you mentioned the Dixon project. So that was something that happened in 2020 around the. Can you tell our listeners about that?
Yeah, that was just before COVID. Oh yeah. Well, so Wednesday week was playing a song for the Buffalo Springfield Wild Honey thing, and so I'm so sorry. I always do that.
That's okay.
I do that every time. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Loving Spoonful. And Don Dixon and Marty Jones were out doing it as well. And so, yeah, we recorded 4 songs here. And they're cover songs that we used to do back in the day.
Mhm.
And it was super fun. It's really exciting to see
So-
him again. I hadn't seen him, I mean, since the 80s. I don't know about you. I don't think. Heidi, you've seen him more recently, maybe.
Oh, I thought you guys had, and I had. Really?
Yeah, no, I feel like I saw him at least once in the interim, but I can't remember.
Hmm.
But it was like no time had passed. He was just the
Yeah,
same.
he's great.
And it was
Marty Jones is still really nice too.
Yeah.
They were great.
So you record these 4 songs, and what's the plan for the 4 songs? Is there a
Well,
plan?
we're working on it.
Kind of weird timing with all this, right?
Right. Yeah.
Thing like
Absolutely.
to
Is
put out
there
the
a-
record and not be able to play is kind of hard. You know, it just kind of just goes out there, and then it's like if you can't go and play, it's hard to think about putting anything out.
Right.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So would the hope be, as it appears things are getting a little bit better, Soraya's fully vaccinated, I'm on my way, I'm 1 shot in, you guys as well?
I'm done. Yeah.
We're done. I'm done. Heidi's done. Kelly, get on it.
Not done.
So we're hoping that things get better. It's the hope that maybe to get this released and maybe play a show or 2 as Wednesday week.
That would be fun.
I see some nodding.
We would love to get out and play as Wednesday week. That would be so cool.
We have to do it.
I feel like it's one of those things that it would just, we can't even really consider it like a plan until like we know that we could go out and play
Right.
and there's any interest or whatever. And then it would just follow from there.
Right, yeah. But you've given me some hope at least. I've
Yeah.
seen all of you guys play in different bands. I've never seen Wednesday Week play as the 4 of you. So I've seen Heidi play at the Irvine Amphitheater with Negro Problem with tons of people, and Heidi and Stu playing in a Java Joe's down in San Diego with a couple dozen of us people, all
Great.
kinds of things. And I've seen all of you guys play, but never as the 4 of you. So I'm hoping that there can be a time when we get past this when maybe these 4 Dixon cover versions can get released and there's a way to promote it and play some shows and
Right.
be Wednesday Week versus the world again.
Yay.
We're here for it.
Nice.
Oh, good. I'm glad. We'll have 2 people.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, we're just merely the 2 that open the door. There's a bunch of people behind us. So trust me,
Awesome.
you're good. You're good.
We've actually had lots of requests to bring you guys on. We've talked a
A
couple
lot.
times. The band has come up a few times. David, you were so kind to join us on the show. We had a little bit of talk about Wednesday Week in as part of your career, and then we had a compilation series. So we talked a little bit about the band on the Wharf Rat Tales and on the Radio Tokyo tapes. So we keep getting requests that we need more Wednesday Week. So we're very
Nice.
thankful that all 4 of you were able to join, because there are fans. There's definitely fans. So.
Well, thank you for having us.
Well,
Yeah.
before we let you go, we did want to ask one last question, and it's and you guys have done so much stuff outside of the band. So I'm glad that you guys were able to join to talk about your time with Wednesday Week. But we wanted to ask each one of you, like we did at the beginning when we were talking about the past and how you got into the music. Originally, we want to talk about now and ask you guys what you guys are listening to now. Is there anything that's new and exciting that you guys like, or are you guys still listening to stuff from the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s, or is there something current that you guys are really excited about listening to, including your own projects? Is there anything? So Heidi, we started with you last time. Is it okay if we start with you?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I thought that meant I didn't have to start.
Oh, you should.
I mean, I want to be like, I want to, be a team player. I probably shouldn't be first because I have to think. I'm really always bad at these questions. I have to think about what I'm listening to. Somebody else want to go first?
I'll go first just because somebody has to, even though I
Kelly?
have trouble coming up with the names too. Don and I were going out to see local bands still before the pandemic. And so there were a lot of little bands around town that we like to see. But that's been quite a while now. And the only band I can think of to mention, and they've seemingly become kind of big, is the Beths, that we really like, that we got to see three times, I guess, in LA. The first time they came through was in some little tiny club. But this is kind of funny. I asked Don, how, what made you want to go out and see this band from New Zealand as they were coming through town? And it was actually a little ad on Facebook. You know how they have the little things? If you check this out, it worked. He listened to it and he's like, oh, that sounds pretty good. And then they came through town and they were playing some little club and we went and saw them and they were awesome. And then they came back through 6 months later and played the Roxy of all places. And we're like, what the heck? And we got there, there was like hardly anybody there. Reminded me of some Wednesday week shows back in the day. It was kind of funny. But so it was weird, but they obviously had some kind of management behind them that got them in that show. And then the next time they came through town, they were at a much bigger place and it was a lot of people. Well, I say much bigger, a place with a lot of people. I think it was the Bootleg, maybe.
It was the Bootleg, yeah.
It was the Bootleg, and the place was really packed. And the young people who were there were all singing along to every song.
Wow.
They knew all the lyrics. So it was really cool. So that's the only band I can think of to remember the name of to tell you. There's other things that we've heard. There are some young bands out there that are pretty cool. So we tend to like listening to newer stuff. I mean, not like we don't listen to old stuff on Spotify. We listen to all kinds of cool old stuff, but anyway, I throw that out there. See, I took the edge off. I went first.
Very cool.
Thanks, Kelly. I appreciate that. Really nice. I was going to jump in. I felt so bad that I made you do that.
It's okay.
Your turn.
Should I go ahead?
Please, yeah.
Okay, so I guess I don't know what the hell is going on with the kids, right? Really? I mean, and I have to say, because there is something about, the production, I have turned into that older person where the production is just like, or I hear something and I'm like, that better be from the 80s, and it's not, right? There's, just, I mean, this just comes with age, right? It's impossible for me to like a band where I'm like, have they ever heard Cream? Have they ever heard, Wait, because it's exciting to them. But for me as an older person, I just hear like what, it's just a whole different, excitement, right? But I guess my thing here, the stuff that I'm really excited about are these different people I know in New York that I just think are these crazy good performer people. And it's like, this guy David Kale, he's like an actor, but he puts on his own shows too, and he's just like, I mean, I just love this stuff, and I'll go see him in some little club. And this woman Carol Lipnick, I mean, this is like so out of this world of bands, right? But they're like performers, and they go out there, and it's just very old school. It feels very much like, wow, I live in New York and I get to go to this little place and see this person performing. And and David Driver, who we've worked with over the years, I just think is just, amazing talent. And so it's mostly, I guess my thing is about these performer people, right? And I'm probably, before we end this interview, I'm going to blurt out some band that I forgot. It's something that I really love. But
We'll include it, don't worry.
Just warning you.
All right, David. I think we asked the same question to you, and I think older stuff. Are you still listening to older stuff?
No, I was actually thinking about it because I don't want it to seem like I'm just stuck in the 60s, just 90%. But I don't know how to say the artist name. It's Sufan, and his last name is Stevens.
Oh,
I love Sufjan.
Sufjan Stevens.
It's not Sufjan.
No, it's Sufjan.
So there was a record, I think it's from 2005.
I like that one.
And
Oh no, that's one of my favorites. See, I told you I was gonna something else.
It's like Come On Feel the Illinois.
Yep.
And that record is so good. And I started listening to it again because I didn't know that in his touring band that the St. Vincent, is that her name? That was just
Yeah.
on Saturday Night Live. She was in his touring band.
What?
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny, David.
So that's sort of contemporary, and I'm
Yeah.
exposed to a lot of contemporary music when I have to do front of house for TV shows and there's kids involved. I have to play like all kinds of, horrible music. And amongst all the horrible stuff, anytime Billie Eilish comes up, I'm just like, oh, thank God, because she's listenable. And some of that other stuff is just like, you just, as soon as it comes on, you're like, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
So, and then it's just lots of 60s stuff. Other than
That Yeah, that Come On Feel the Illinois album is fantastic.
God, it's so good. It's
It's-
the gift that keeps on giving. It's just so great.
Agreed. And Kristi, what about you? Are you listening to anything?
Yes.
Cheap Trick?
Always.
The
Always.
new record.
Oh my gosh. No, they have some really good recent records. Okay, so let's they just have so much stuff. It's a lot. But I was thinking, yeah, the auto-tune thing today is painful. And every once in a while there'll be something the kids are listening to. It's like, oh, that is actually good. And yes, I agree, Billie Eilish is good. I was thinking though, there's, in terms of like local bands, I was just thinking about this in terms of, it's just the same as it was 30 or 40 years ago. I'm thinking of my friends. I'm thinking Candy Pants has a new record coming out.
Oh, right. I
and
should have
that
said
stuff is
Petrified Max.
really good. Well,
Oh,
I was
shit.
going to say that too, but all right, steal my thunder. Yes, Petrified Max, absolutely. Kel Johansson from Narrow Adventure has a record coming out, and he had a bunch of different people sing on it. And I was fortunate, he asked me to sing on a song, and I really like that song that I sing on. But yeah, so Candy Pants has something coming out that I've heard a bunch of stuff from that's really good. Yes, Petrified Max had some great stuff. They too, Bam Bam, right? I know they were on your show twice for that.
Fantastic albums.
Yeah, my friend Pierre Smith, who is in the Roswell Sisters with me, and he was in the New Marines way back in the day. He put out a record just before the pandemic, like in January. But that has some really great stuff on it, really great songs. So, and I like, and I know I like the Schizophonics. They're really catchy. Do you know the Schizophonics? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm worried about his knees. I'm so worried about his knees. He's going to be like Prince, in 5 seconds, but they're really catchy. I'm trying to remember, Kelly, I can't remember the name of, was it My Revenge? That band Hector had that we saw at the Grand Star. Those
The Chinatown thing?
yeah, those fundraisers that Martin Wong does. Oh yeah, Nico. Yeah, I like that band of
that
Hector's
was it.
from the Zeros. Well, he also has My Revenge too. He's always got a different band going.
Yeah.
So, a lot of local stuff, people I know that I really like, so there's that. Yeah.
I can't wait to hear this record that Kel is working on. I wasn't
Yeah.
familiar with this
Oh,
project.
it's coming. It's
Yeah,
coming.
I don't know if you supposed to talk about that.
Okay, it's a secret. And First Aid Kit, I like the First Aid Kit. Do you know them? They're
No.
really cool. I think they're from Sweden. They had a great song called Graham and Emmy Lou, which was really cool a few years back. But I think they're sisters, and it's just cool. It's more Americana, which of course I like a lot of Americana stuff. So
That's not a secret.
Not at all.
Very good.
yeah, well, one last comment,
Sure.
which I know Kelly doesn't agree with so much, but I went, since I was your Paisley Raspberry and Rhyme.
Yeah, Paisley Stage Raspberry. and
Paisley Stage Raspberry and Rhyme. I always get the order wrong. We were definitely not part of the Paisley Underground.
What?
We weren't. Well,
That's
I
not
know
true.
thankfully Clive included us, but I know there's only 4 bands, right? But we were around at that time. Well, I feel like those bands were really very focused on the 60s, their style, their dress even, and that wasn't, that we weren't not focused that way. But Gwen Kahn had categorized us as the Calico Underground instead. And I thought that made perfect sense for
I like
me.
that. I like
personally. That's how she categorized us. So yes, we're not Paisley Underground for sure. And even though I love that scene, and I felt like we were adjacent, like Clive said, I felt like we were kind of part of it, but then we really weren't. We weren't part of any scene. That was kind of our problem, right? We practiced in our garage by ourselves. We weren't like at some rehearsal studio where we'd run into other bands. We were very kind of, insular, not on purpose, but we just.
But we shared a garage for a while with the Long Riders, so.
That's true. That was pretty short-lived, but that's true.
It's fun.
And if I'm not mistaken, Stephen McCarthy plays with you guys.
Yeah.
On the cassette album, on the second side, yes, he played on a bunch of songs.
Mhm.
So certainly adjacent.
Yes.
Calico Underground. That's the first that I've heard this. I love that.
Thank you for having us on, even though we're not official. We're adjacent. We're Calico, not Paisley.
You're official to us. So
Okay.
And last question for our listeners that may not know, where can they find Wednesday Week on the social media platforms?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Well, I think Wednesday Week Band, I think it is. It says on Instagram maybe, and Facebook, I think.
Yeah, there's a Facebook page and an Instagram page.
Yeah. We don't have Twitter. Sorry.
Not tweeting.
Not tweeting.
But yeah, Instagram and Facebook, Wednesday Week or Wednesday Week Band. There's a lot of Wednesday Week is kind of, if you search it on the web, it can be kind of generic. So Wednesday Week Band, you'll come up, you'll do better.
And Don has some fantastic photos that he's shared of the band. So
Oh yeah, lots of good pictures.
yeah, absolutely.
Jeff,
So
I don't want them to go.
we asked for an hour, Soraya, so we're
Okay. But thank you very, very much. And especially Heidi. I know this is quite late for you, but thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy to be, this is great, This has been great. I feel like we've talked more about things. Isn't this funny? Like we're talking to you guys and it makes us all go down all the time, it's all emotional. It's been really nice,
I love the four of you guys together. And I told Soraya, this is really a treat to have the whole lineup from the What We Had album together. It's just fantastic for me. And I'm like a little kid in a candy store with having you guys all together. I appreciate you guys all taking the time to talk to us. We had the list of questions is humongous. So we just had to pick and choose what we wanted to include. But thank you to all four of you for joining Soraya and I. And we hope to be able to have you guys again when this song EP comes out and we get to promote some shows.
Oh, thank you. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I just, one thing I wanted to say, back in the day, we used to tell people that David and Heidi were brother and sister.
Oh yeah.
So that we had two sets of siblings.
Yeah.
They kind of, they can.
Well, because Heidi was always driving because Heidi liked to drive. And she'd look in the rearview mirror and she'd be like, "Oh my God, you look like my sister."
Yes, yes, his eyes.
My eyes,
yeah.
That's how it started.
So there's two sets of sisters here. I get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's like, I did join a girl group.
You're the honorary sister.
It's something like that.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Thanks.
Really fun.
We really appreciate it, you guys, and we hope to see. I hope to see a Wednesday Week show.
Yes.
At some point.
Definite.
We do too.
Yeah.
Great.
2022.
Soon.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
You guys.
All right. Bye-bye. Good night, Heidi. Get some sleep.
Yeah. I do leave.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye, you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night, Kelly. Soraya, that just happened.
I'm happy right now.
Yeah.
I'm
very happy.
really happy right now.
And it was so interesting to me to hear the progression of how all this happened. And did I really hear Heidi say that she lied to the Callan sisters?
Yes.
And told them that she was a bass player?
And who knew that Vetus is pushy?
I cannot see that at all. Seriously.
Who knew that? But look, Heidi said it from the get-go. I felt like we were a family. And when you listen to Wednesday Week, okay, and Heidi also mentioned, there are some recordings I'm not on. But when you see the four of them together now, and you hear the record that they were all on together, I mean, you can't help but hear that harmony, that synergy, and it's like a well-oiled machine. Honest,
It sounds like it, yeah.
the sound is really I'm at a loss right now for the description, but it's a really sound and wholesome, like it's got body, it's got legs, and it's got energy. And I agree with Kelly, that hearing Kristi and Heidi sing together, it's harmony, it's beautiful.
Yes.
And there's a lot, one of the questions I didn't ask, I wanted to ask, but maybe we'll have another opportunity to do that, is to ask them what they felt the legacy of Wednesday week was. And Jeff, you and I are fans, and I think for me it's, I like the arrangement, but more than anything, I like the songs that they wrote.
Yep.
And so, and I really enjoyed that part of the conversation where they were talking about where Wednesday week was more than just a girl band. People like that, like to put them in that category, but I never felt that they were, just a girl band. They were a band.
Exactly.
They were a band, and the sound is, it's very distinct. It stands on its own. And look, who said it? I think Heidi said it 30 years later, and we're still talking about the impact of Wednesday week. I mean, it's incredible. And as this whole thing with Berger, it's an unfortunate situation, but I'm really confident that we are going to be able to hear these covers that they did and hear more and get them on the road. As a country, we're coming back, and it blew me out of the water that they never made it overseas.
Yeah.
What, how did that, what an oversight that was. It just never happened.
But there's fans there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
For Heidi to walk into a record store in London and literally have people who knew more about a band that she was in than her herself. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a perfect time. And to me, I don't think either of them have skipped a beat at all. Still plugged in, still great musicians. The sound is there. Oh, man, I want more. I want new music. I want more, not just a cover. I want more. I'm greedy.
And they're all great songwriters. In fact, yeah, what we had album, all four of them wrote songs on there. So Heidi wrote songs, David wrote songs, Kristi, Kelly wrote songs. So they're all songwriters, still writing songs. So
yes,
very talented, all four of them. Yeah, I'm with you there.
This is a great band, and they deserve all the attention that they get.
Yep, absolutely.
And for anyone listening that's sleeping on Wednesday week, no, you need to fix that.
Not on our watch. Not on our watch.
And just a little note to the one and only Steve Wynn. Jeff and I want to hear GoDaddy's version.
Yes.
Of anyone like me. We want to hear that.
I love that song.
Give us the recording.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that. That's a great song. I was
super jealous, Jeff, when David Nolte pulls out this stack and he's all, here's this. I'm like,
I'm glad he did that. That was, yeah.
I want that.
Glad he shared that. Yeah, that was great for for me to see.
You have any of those flexi singles?
No, I don't. No, not yet.
We must find them. I know Ronnie Barnett has them, probably.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Super fan, Ronnie Barnett.
yep. One of the original fan club members.
Dang. This is really cool, Jeff.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, this is something that we've been wanting to do for
A
literally years. Literally,
Very, very long time.
yeah. So the fact that it finally happened made me very happy.
I want them back. I want them back on too.
Yes, let's hope that happens. Hopefully, we didn't scare them away, because I think the list of questions that we talked about beforehand, before we actually started talking, I think we hit about 30% of it.
I mean, it's hard when it's a band of 4 really accomplished people.
Yep. Yeah.
And you're like,
And
I'm so thankful that the 4 of them agreed to come and join us. And then like when you see all 4 of them, you're like, you're a little starstruck, and
yeah, I certainly was.
whew.
But
But
we could go on for episodes and episodes and episodes just to the fact of what they've done, what each of the 4 of them have done after Wednesday week, with everything. I did have to slip in a little bit of Cheap Trick because
well, you have to do some things. But how cool is it? Kelly and Kristi's first show together live is at Gazzari's. Gazzari's on the Strip, folks. Gazzari's to me was always a hairband place, but Callan sisters went there.
undeclared.
Damn! That to me is just cool as hell.
Agreed. And I can't wait to hear the Matt's House version.
Matt's house.
Matt's House.
Yeah, Betsy may have something to say about that. But
Yeah, I think Betsy will have something to say about that.
well, Heidi said she joined a gang and found her people. We love this tribe of people. So
Indeed, we do.
all right, mi gente, a groovear.
Groove on, Calico peeps.